An update on the provisional Nkandla report. Last week, the security cluster abandoned a court bid to delay its release. On Friday, the ministers submitted a 28-page response on security concerns and possible breaches. The public protector says where considered reasonable, the report will be altered. But the process will now revert back to technical engagement.
I will invite the ministers and the security cluster to nominate security experts from within government to meet me at my offices to discuss with them the contended issues. I will thereafter apply my mind and make a decision.
The public protector concedes that the issue could have been handled better. She now wants to mend the relations with the security cluster ministers.
We now have the task of rebuilding trust. I believe our common commitment to the constitutional values that include transparency, public accountability, and the rule of law will help us put the unfortunate court drama behind us.
The security cluster has welcomed the latest developments.
The reaffirmation by her office that moving forward we'll have a fruitful engagement is an encouraging stance, given the fact that running up to the court action there had been fruitful engagements, and we've always respected that office and support her mandate as enshrined in the Constitution.
Madonsela says she hopes to finalize the report within a month. Yolisa Njamala, SABC News in Pretoria.
Well, joining me now to discuss two of today's top stories is Vuyo Mvoko. He's our contributing editor. Vuyo, always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Good to be here, please, sir.
Well, let's start with the public protector. She had this press conference. Reconciliatory overtones, I think, is the language that we're using. Have they kissed and made up with the security clusters?
I don't think so. I don't believe that at all, actually. I think it's just a PR exercise given the episode that they're coming from. And I think after this, both parties will, I think, dig in their heels, basically. Because if you read between the lines, she seems to be saying, I regret having done what I did. In other words, gotten out of the usual way where that I handle this sort of thing. And actually what she deems a concession, she felt that the government basically spit in her face. And I don't think she has taken kindly to that. And I think from now on, she's going to make sure that her stuff is watertight and that she never again sort of does what she did, which is to allow for some concession that may in the end, from where she sits, certainly compromise her.
So when she says that she will now have a technical engagement, what she's basically saying is, I'm going to apply the letter of the law and stick to standard procedures.
Yes, and if you need additional or extra or specialist advice on anything, including security matters, I will go to security experts, not politicians or those who may be beholden to politicians. That's my reading of it. Remember, this is a person who has done with that office no other person has what no other person has done before. She has won the hearts and minds of South Africans on the basis of what she has done. And my sense is that what she means is that what she did this time around, which was to allow for certain concessions, to try and make sure that together with the politicians, they sort of find each other halfway, and that didn't happen. She kind of compromised herself. So she's never gonna do that again, in my view. And remember, she actually, she does want to have a legacy, because she's got one term of office. Once it ends, it's over for her. Would she want to compromise what she thinks she has, how she thinks she has, as well as she has done since she started? My sense is she's not that kind of a person. She's going to try and be meticulous and make sure that she never ever does anything that is seen to be compromising her position.
Essentially, if I read between the lines here, this relationship can't be recovered. It's literally just going to be...
I don't think so. They will extend normal courtesies. She will do what is required of her, but nothing beyond that, which she believes is what she did this time around.
All right. Well, the other story that's going to rock Gauteng motorists is e-tolling. We now have a date, the 3rd of December. And I'm wondering, does that mean that the stakes have been raised somewhat? We've got Zwelinzi Mavavi on the one hand saying that we must fight this, and Outer saying that it's going to be unadministrable.
And she's doing that from the fringes. And I think that's part of the game plan, if you like. I think the government is convinced in its own mind, and by extension, the governing party, the ANC, that there will be not the kind of resistance that will cripple government and actually, because you see, if you were to do that now, if you were to stand up against the government, you need an organized program, whether you call it a program of defiance or but you need people who are organized. But so far, Outer has actually fallen by the wayside for all intents and purposes. The best they can do is make a lot of noise. COSATU has its own problems, bigger than the e-tolling issue, and it is battling to deal with those problems. I don't think there is a way that COSATU is going to mete out a very organized form of resistance or resistance campaign against what the government is doing now, until and unless they solve their own problems. And by the look of things, a lot is at stake for COSATU, within leaders within COSATU, but also for the affiliates that make up COSATU, for them to be busy doing but also remember, this is not a national campaign. This is a Gauteng issue, which sort of weakens it in many ways. And I don't think it's going to be an election issue for the ANC either. And I think the ANC as a party has made peace with that. It is determined to support the government. That is why you never see anybody, even the most outspoken people in the ANC, they're just going to let this one pass. Because I think they are confident that as a party, they don't want any contradictions, but they are determined to ensure that the government forges ahead. And I'm afraid it's just not going to change unless something big and very revolutionary, led perhaps by people other than COSATU and Outer, maybe.
But with just 2 weeks to go, they've got nowhere near the numbers that they need to make the e-tolling financially successful in terms of getting the money back that they're looking for.
I think they can set systems in place. Remember, it's not like e-tolls, South Africa is new to e-tolls completely. It's just that the kind of e-tolls we're talking about and in Gauteng are bigger than anything that has perhaps been attempted before. But it doesn't mean that you're starting from a zero base completely. So I think it's going to happen. If they trip along the way, certain things fall by the wayside or are not right, I think they'll get up, dust themselves off, and make sure that they get it right.
All right. We're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed.